Hi everyone, welcome to Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. For this practice, if you have a hard floor, grab a couple of socks or a blanket that you can fold up. If you have carpeted flooring, grab 2 paper plates, one for each foot, or a big sheet of cardboard, something like that. And then go ahead and set it aside with your usual props of 2 yoga blocks and a strap. And let's begin in a comfortable seat. I'd like to focus today on Yoga Sutra 1.14. And in English, it translates as perfection in practice comes when one continues to practice with sincerity and respect for a long period of time without any interruption. So I'm going to attempt the Sanskrit version. Satu dirga kala nairantarya satkara asevita dra bhumi. So international yoga article writer Pandit Rajmani Tigunait explains this sutra. I'd like to read actually all of this, so it's about a page long. So get comfortable as you're seated. Take a few grounding deep breaths. And he explains it as your practice will bear fruit when it encompasses 3 secrets to success in yoga. First, you have to practice for a long period of time. Second, your practice must not be interrupted. You must do it regularly. And third, you must do your practice with love and respect. So he talks about how our personality is made up of our habit patterns. You know a lot about that. We've been talking about it quite a bit. And habit patterns are formed by our repeated actions. When these habits are refined, they are deposited in the mind field in the form of subtle impressions called samskaras. That's the yogic word for it. And when similar samskaras are joined together, they are called vasanas, a group of impressions big enough and strong enough to take over our mind. Vasanas come from deep within, and they motivate us to think, speak, and act in a manner that is congruent with them. To trigger these vasanas, and we've talked about emotional triggers and emotional reactivity many times in the past. So to trigger these vasanas, all you need is a single spark, a tiny excuse, so to say. For example, take someone who is angry by nature. Through his repeated acts of violence, he has formed the habit of being violent, and all the subtle impressions of violence are stored in his mind field. As simple an excuse as someone honking at him at a stop sign triggers his anger. He turns red and begins to swear. He may even pick up his handgun and shoot. These powerful habits are formed over a long period of time, and therefore the process of undoing them will also take a long time. You must not expect instant transformation. You need to do your practice for a long period of time in order to generate new, spiritually illuminating, positive, constructive habit patterns that can neutralize your negative habit patterns and initiate a long-lasting transformation from within. We talked about how Sri Krishnamacharya said that yoga is the process of replacing old, unhealthy patterns with new, more appropriate ones. So it continues in this article. You also need to do your practice regularly. Everything in the world is regulated by time and space. Cause and effect are totally dependent on them. And that is why to breathe life into your practice, you must do it regularly. You may have noticed in your own life that it's hard to start a practice in the first place, and even harder to restart it once you have let it lapse. Irregularity breeds procrastination, a hurdle that is hard to overcome. Finally, you can continue your practice for a long period of time without interruption only when you love it, your practice. If you have not cultivated love and respect for your practice, it will be a continuous struggle to do it. And practicing without joy is torture. It is no longer the ground for self-discipline. Sooner or later, you are bound to quit. And that last one, I think, is so important, connecting to your why, connecting what sparks joy and love within you. Otherwise, what's it all worth? So as you sit here now, arriving in your practice mentally, physically, maybe set a hand to your heart center at the middle of your chest, a hand to your lower belly. Taking a few more deep breaths in through the nose as you sit a little bit taller and open the collarbones broad. Exhaling any sound through the mouth, releasing any stagnant breath. One more time, inhaling deeply, connecting to what's present in your body right now. What are you feeling? Is there any tension? What's the energy of your mind? Is there anything to acknowledge emotionally in your state of being? And how might this practice serve you? How might this practice serve your greater well-being? Connecting to your bigger picture for showing up not only today, but repeatedly. Renewing your greater sankalpa, which is your heart-rooted intention. And then as well, I invite you to choose someone or something or a larger community that you also care about, that you might offer the fruits of your practice to, making a dedication. And as we're showing up here today, supporting each other with our personal practices, let's join our voices, chanting 3 ohms. Take a deep inhale. Start to deepen the breath in, feeling your rib cage expand, your belly expand, closing the lips, exhaling completely. Full breaths in and out. Slow, steady breathing. Begin to narrow gently the back of your throat so that you can hear a very soft, smooth whispering sound as you breathe through the nose. Taking your time to lengthen your breath. This is the practice of Ujjayi Pranayama, which means victorious breathing. Helpful to regulate your nervous system to a place of calm. Use the sound to help anchor your mind in the present moment. And as you continue to listen to your breath in and out through the nose, I invite you to slowly make your way up to stand at the front of your mat. And you may want to have 2 blocks framing the sides of your mat there. Separate your feet at least hips width apart. Parallel your second toes as you spread your toes. And then bring your hands to your hips. Roll your shoulders back and down as you inhale to look up. Bend your knees generously so that as you bow slowly from your hips, you can create a feeling of a flat back. And then once you get to your range, release the arms so that you can catch hold of opposite elbows with your hands. Perhaps explore swaying your spine gently side to side, nodding your head, shaking your head to loosen your neck. Continue to listen to the long, even breaths through your nose. Bending your knees as much as you need here so that your neck can feel relaxed, your shoulders can lift up away from it.
And let's switch the cross of the arms, holding the opposite elbow on top. Uttanasana, standing forward folds. 2 more deep breaths. Begin to shift a little more weight forward towards the fronts of your heels and less towards the backs of your heels. And as your knees are at least a little bent, activate the front muscles of your thighs. It's like you're trying to lift your kneecaps by flexing your quadriceps. Press your fingertips onto your legs or onto the ground ahead of your feet. Start to engage your belly, and as you breathe in, stretch the top of your head towards your front wall, creating a flat back as you glide the shoulders away from your neck. Feel the belly engage. Look towards the tip of your nose. Ardha Uttanasana, breathe here. Half forward fold. Keep lengthening the sides of your torso from your outer hips to your outer shoulders. Lengthen through the sides of your neck and tilt your weight forward. 1 more breath in. Keep this full length in your spine. It might require bending the knees a little more when you exhale to fold over your legs. Uttanasana. Press down to your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms forward like you're scooping water from a river, and then rise it to stand. Standing tall here, rotate your outer upper arms, which are your triceps, towards your front wall and feel your shoulders broaden. At the same time, press your shoulder blades down your back, stand up tall, energize the muscles in your legs, and firm in the lower belly as you seal in the bottom of your front ribs, like you have a corset and you're hugging the front ribs in towards your back. Now, if your shoulders begin to shrug, you can bring your arms more forward in front of your head rather than further upward. Now bring your palms to meet. Keep pressing the shoulders down. Keep wrapping the triceps forward. Feel how the upper arm muscles activate here. Take another deep breath. Keep standing tall. Press to the 4 corners of each foot. And as you exhale, trace your thumbs from the crown of your head down the center line of your body. Landing your arms by your sides, turn your palms to face forward, mountain pose, Tadasana. Let's begin sun salutation C, Surya Namaskar C. As you breathe in, sweep your arms forward, drop your shoulders behind the ears, and plug your shoulder bones down as you coil your chest lightly up. Exhale from your hips, bow down. You might bend the knees. Place your hands to the outsides of your feet on blocks or the ground, and step the left knee behind you. Inhale into your kneeling lunge as you look up. Holding your breath, step onto hands and knees in plank pose. Exhale, point your elbows back and lower your chin and chest looking forward. Belly's engaged. Inhale, slide your belly to the floor. Roll your shoulders back in cobra pose, legs straight back. Exhale, press your hands and knees, tuck your toes, and lift your hips in downward dog. Take a deep inhale as you step your left foot forward beside your left thumb, lowering your back knee, hands on the floor or blocks. Exhale as you step the right foot forward, hips width apart, forward folds. Inhale, scoop your hands down into that river, rise all the way up, drop your shoulders back, look up. Exhale your palms together, tracing your center line. Side 2, inhale your arms forward, drop your shoulders back. Exhale, bow over your legs, hands on blocks or the floor. Inhale, step your right knee back, look up. Hands and knees down, hold the breath and step to plank. Exhale, point your elbows back and lower your chin and chest, belly firming in, tailbone sticking up. Exhale, slide your belly and legs to the ground and roll the shoulders back to cobra. Exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot beside your right thumb, lower your left knee and look up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and bow. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, rise to stand, dropping your shoulders back as you coil your chest open. Exhale your hands in prayer down your center line.
Let's take one sun salutation A. This time, inhale, circle your arms apart, unite your palms towards overhead, look up. Exhale, bow from your hips, Uttanasana. Press your legs to the ground. Inhale, stretch the crown of your head forward. Step into plank with legs straight or knees on the ground. As you exhale, glide forward, firm in the belly. Graze your elbows by your ribs, Chaturanga Dandasana. Either move into cobra or upward facing dog as you breathe in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here, steadying your gaze on one spot as you relax the back of your neck. Spreading your fingers wide apart as you point your index fingers forward, parallel to each other. Find that same action of rotating your triceps downward to broaden across your shoulders as you plug your shoulder bones deep into their sockets, moving away from your neck. 2 more breaths. Inhale, lifting from the inseam of your right leg. Raise your right foot way behind you. Turn the right hip to face the ground. Exhale, bend your right knee towards your nose. Round into plank pose, then gently step the foot forward beside your right thumb. Stay on the ball of your left foot. Bend your left knee. Stack your right knee directly over the heel. Imagine you're dragging your feet towards each other. Feel that kind of internal energy without visibly dragging them. Reach the arms by your sides behind you, palms face down, and hug your outer hips towards your midline. Draw in your belly and slowly begin to lift your frontal hip bones until you can stack your shoulders right over your hips, arms overhead. Crescent lunge. So we're going to take a variation here that opens up the shoulders called Gomukhasana. You may want to use a strap if you're feeling any tightness in your shoulders. So if you need a strap, take hold of it in your left hand. Raise your left arm up high. With your right hand, rotate your left tricep forward and bring your left elbow behind your head. Pressing both of your shoulders down, reach your right hand behind you underneath and grab the other end of the strap. Walk your hands as close together as you can. If your fingers can meet to clasp, then go ahead and let go of the strap. Check in with your breath. As you inhale, picture your collarbones smiling a little wider apart from your sternum to each shoulder head. And as you exhale, glide your shoulder blades down your back and lengthen up through the back of your skull. Keep bending the front knee right over the heel. Pressing back to your inner left heel. Perhaps you're moving towards straightening the left leg. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Now, as you breathe out, lower your hands to blocks or the ground in front of you and lower your back knee. Place your right thumb into the outer crease of your right hip, pressing that hip down. Keep your front knee stacked right over the ankle, the entire sole of your right foot firming into the ground. Stretch your left arm down the midline of your mat as you breathe in to stretch your spine from your pelvis. Keep the shoulders down the back. Activate your belly as you twist to your right and see if it might be available for you to hook your left elbow outside of your right thigh, keeping the right leg solid, and using your right palm to press against the left while you continue to turn your chest. If that's not working out, you can place your left hand on the floor or on a block to the left side of your front foot and raise your right arm up. Other options are to tuck the back toes and re-straighten the left leg in this twist, or to open the arms apart. Whatever your variation, come back to your why of your practice today. What's the bigger picture, and can you use that to fuel your love or your commitment, what you're doing right now? Let's take 3 more breaths. Now look just ahead of your right foot. Either place your hands down first as you tuck the back toes, or unravel the arms up back to a crescent lunge. And let's turn to the left in warrior two. Dropping the back heel, align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. Wrapping the right outer hip underneath you. Turn open your right knee towards the pinky toe as you firm the top of your left thigh bone back, straightening the left leg. As you open your arms wide, bring your fingers together. Feel your shoulders press down as your crown lifts up. Then steady your gaze on one spot just past your right fingertips. Let's take 3 more breaths here in Virabhadrasana 2. Flip the right palm to face up. Keep your right knee bent. Inhale, side bend towards your rear wall, sweeping the right arm overhead. Exalted warrior. Exhale your hands to the ground, optional to flow through plank into your vinyasa or to go straight to downward facing dog. When you arrive at downward dog, take a few breaths to sense how you're feeling, mind, body, breath. Noticing any patterns that show up mentally, thoughts, physically. Bringing the practice of self-study, which is part of yoga. From downward dog, keep your hips leveled. Inhale, raise your left leg slowly behind you as you flex the foot. Exhale, bend the left knee towards your nose and round your back, shifting through plank to gently step your left foot beside your left thumb into a high lunge. Keep your fingertips on blocks or the floor for a moment as you bend the right knee. Imagine you're dragging your feet towards each other. Create that active energy in your legs. Once grounded, reach the arms behind you by your sides, palms face down. Hug your outer hips towards your midline. Engage your abdomen and slowly begin to lift your spine upright. Raising your arms overhead into crescent lunge. Now notice if you need a strap for the second side as we take that shoulder stretch called Gomukhasana. If so, hold the strap in your right hand as you raise it up. Strap is hanging behind you. With your left hand, guide your right tricep to rotate forward. Bring your elbow behind your head. Reach your left hand underneath. Grab the other end of the strap. Walk your hands as close together as you can, maybe letting go of the strap if your hands clasp. Find grounding energy through your legs again, that scissoring action. Inhale, spread your collarbones wide across your chest. Exhale, send the shoulder blades down your back ribs. Keep turning your 2 hips to face forward as you steady your eyes onto one spot. Let's take 3 more steady breaths here. Then releasing your hands down onto blocks or the floor, lower your back knee, come into a kneeling lunge. Keep your left foot solidly still as you hook your left thumb onto the outer crease of your left hip, drawing it down. Stretch your right arm and spine forward as you breathe in. Exhale, turn your chest to the left, entering the same version, if possible, of the twists as you did on the first side. Pressing the palms in prayer or lowering the right hand on the inside of your front leg on a block or the floor and raising the left arm up. Maybe lifting the back knee and tucking the toes. Again, set your gaze on one spot.
Cultivate balance and calm in your breath. Let's take 4 more breaths here in this twist. Looking down at your left foot, opt to either lower your hands first as you tuck the back toes, or rise back to Crescent Lunge, then turn to the right for Warrior Two. Aligning front heel to back arch. Open your arms wide and stack your shoulders right above your hips as you're lifting your frontal hip bones. Hug your left outer hip towards you and firm the top of your right thigh bone back towards you. Steadying your gaze or your drishti, let's take 4 more breaths in Virabhadrasana 2. Feel a sense of hugging your front ribs towards your back body here as you open your chest through the reach of your arms. 1 more breath. Keep your left knee bent. Flip your left palm to face up. Side bend towards your rear wall as you inhale, sweeping the left arm overhead. Exalted warrior. Exhale your hands to the ground. Take a vinyasa or a few cat-cows. Rest if you need. Let's meet in downward facing dog. Again, check in. How does your body feel? What do you sense energetically? Is there any thought looping in your mind to notice? Let's take 3 more breaths here. Bend your knees. Inhale, look forward. Bottom of the exhale, walk or float your feet together at the top. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. With your feet together, take a moment to find your blocks and let's set them up on their tallest height, 1 foot ahead of your feet, shoulders distance apart, so that you have more options. Actually, excuse me, let's set up the blocks to the outsides of your feet where they are. Went ahead of myself. Bend your knees together, sink your hips in chair pose, but bend your elbows apart like a cactus shape. Hooking your left elbow over the right, let's come into eagle pose. Either hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms as you send your shoulders down the back, lift up through the back of your neck. Check in with your breath and set your eyes on one spot just ahead. Now shift your weight into your left foot. Turn out your right thigh at the hip. Flex the right foot as you raise it off the floor. Wrap the right leg over the left. Now you could place your toes on that block over there, or possibly tuck the toes behind your left calf. Sitting lower, squaring both hips to face the front so that your elbows and knees stack down the midline of your body. Let's take 4 more breaths here in Garudasana, eagle pose. Can be a helpful posture for cultivating concentration. Now start to unravel the right leg, so bend the knee in front of you and flex the foot as you stand on your left foot. Softly step the right foot behind you, 2/3 as far back as you were in your high lunge earlier. Place your hands on your hips and separate your feet as wide apart as your hips.
Both hips facing forward, legs straight. Let's prepare for pyramid pose. So let's keep broadening the chest by bringing your arms behind your back. You can choose to either press fist to fist, hold opposite elbows, or bring palm to palm in reverse prayer pose, fingertips sliding up towards between the shoulder blades. Spread your toes, ground your feet, flex the front muscles of your thighs and your belly. As you breathe in, look up and lift your chest. As you breathe out, start to bow towards your inner left shin. Pause as you breathe in, energize your legs, and firm your hips square. Folding a little more as you breathe out. Let's take 4 more breaths here. Uttanasana. Now start to lift your torso about parallel to the floor. Activate the belly here. Hug in the front ribs. Grow through the center of your spine. Shoulder blades down the back. Now you can keep your hands in behind you, just as they are. We're going to move into Warrior 3, but if you prefer, grab the blocks and walk them forward so they land 1 foot in front of your feet. Look ahead of the front edge of your mat and lift your right leg behind you from the inseam. It may be helpful to bend the left knee if your hamstrings are feeling any tension. Keep breathing, steady your gaze, and flex your right foot. Imagine you're pushing it against the back wall as you're stretching the crown of your head towards the front wall. Let's take 4 more breaths here in Virabhadrasana 3. Slowly step the right foot to meet your left. Standing in mountain pose at the top of your mat, release your arms and take a few breaths. Feel the strength of your mountain pose. 4 corners of each foot grounded firmly. Lifting energy up the center line of your body through your crown. Chest broad, front ribs hugging in. Let's take 1 more breath. Then bring your feet together to touch and bend your knees together in chair. Bend your elbows apart like a cactus shape. This time, cross your right elbow over the left. Hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms, shoulders down, lift through the back of your skull. Steady your eyes and breath and shift your weight onto your right foot. Turn out your left thigh and flex the foot as you lift the leg to wrap over the right, either landing your toes on the block or tucking your toes behind your calf. Sitting lower, square your hips to evenly face forward. Stacking your elbows and knees. Let's take 4 more breaths here in eagle pose. The eagle can sometimes symbolize a bird's eye perspective, the ability to see the bigger picture of our day-to-day actions, of what we put our effort into, of what your practice means to you. Start to lift the left knee in front of you. Come to stand tall on one leg. Flex the left foot. Find a sense of centering as you hug the belly in. Step the left foot gently 2/3 as far back as you did in your high lunge. Bring your hands to your hips and separate your feet as wide apart as your hips. Legs straight. Activate the front muscles of your thighs, your belly. Bring your arms behind you again. Fist to fist. Hold the other elbow on top, or reverse prayer. Breathe in, lift your heart and look up. Breathe out, begin to bow from your hips. Grow your spine further into a flat back with each inhalation. For 4 more breaths here in Uttanasana, or pyramid pose.
Now, as you engage your belly and the front muscles of your thighs, inhale, lift your torso about parallel to the ground. Look beyond the front edge of your mat and decide how you'd like to enter Warrior 3. You can keep your arms as they are, bend the front knee slightly and lift the inseam of the left leg until your center line is parallel to the floor. You could place your hands on the blocks and walk them forward. Flex the left foot. Lift the navel, hug the front ribs in. Broaden your chest and lengthen your neck. Last 2 breaths. Step the left foot beside the right. Release your arms. Tadasana, mountain pose. Tune in for a few breaths. All right, find your pair of socks or your cardboard, whatever tool that you're using to make the ground slippery. Yep, that's what it's going to be for. We're going to wake up our center just a little bit more in preparation for our month-long theme of exploring the path to Salamba Shirshasana, supported headstand. Whether you physically go into supported headstand or not, doesn't really matter as much as going through the steps and being true to your practice, however it needs to be. So if you don't have space behind your mat, you'll do what I'll do here and fold the mat or slide it forward if you can, so that you can imagine that you can do downward dog with your hands on the mat and your feet on the floor. But we're actually going to start on hands and knees. So place your hands at the rearmost edge of that folded mat, if it's folded. And let's take a couple cat-cows first here. So inhale, coil your chest through your arms and up. Drop the shoulders down. Exhale, press to your hands and scoop your belly in. Drop your head to round. One more time. Inhale, broaden your chest forward and up. Drop the shoulder blades down your back. Exhale, press to your hands and lift your navel towards your spine as you drop your head to round. Relax to a neutral spine. Steady your breath. Now, remember that action when we were standing in mountain pose in the beginning and we were raising the arms? I asked you to rotate your triceps forward, your outer upper arms forward. You might even do that right now and just feel how that helps to broaden the space across your shoulders and across your shoulder blades. Keep that action and plug your shoulder bones into their sockets, like a plug into an outlet. Those 2 actions are going to be important for shoulder stability as we put more weight on our arms and some weight on our feet. So now rotate the triceps down, plug the shoulder bones in their sockets, and place your elbows exactly shoulders width apart onto the rearmost edge of the mat. Interlace your fingers and plug your outer forearms and outer wrists into the floor so that you feel a rebounding lift away from the floor. It's that principle of equal and opposite forces. The force that you push down with is the force that lifts you away from the ground too. Root down to rise up. Now from here, steady your eyes just in front of the knuckles of your hands. Deep breath in. As you exhale, hug your front ribs towards the back of your body. You should feel your upper back slightly lift and broaden, like a gentle rounding, not a full rounding like cat pose. Keep pressing the shoulders away from your neck. Breathe. Keep wrapping the triceps towards the rear wall. Now, as you're looking just ahead of your knuckles, feel how your neck lengthens. Keep that action of lengthening your neck, rooting down to rise, rotating the triceps back, and hugging the front ribs towards your back. Now begin to crawl your toes behind you until you're in plank pose on your forearms, pressing your inner heels back, hugging your feet towards each other, stretching down the center line of your body. Hug the front ribs in, wrap the triceps back, Look in front of your knuckles, breathe. Lengthen your neck so you're not dropping your head here. You're actively stretching the top of your head forward. Breathe in as you exhale. Slide your feet towards your elbows as much as you can, lifting your hips, and you land in dolphin pose. Here, you can let your head hang or continue to look just in front of your knuckles. Keep rooting down to lift, plugging the shoulders into their sockets. Breathe in. Exhale, slide your toes back into forearm plank. Stretch the tailbone towards the inner heels and lift the waistline. Keep breathing. We're going to try 2 more rounds of this. Inhale, forearm plank. Scoop in the belly. Exhale, slide your toes towards your elbows, dolphin pose. Inhale, dolphin pose. Exhale, slide your toes back until your spine is horizontal to the floor, forearm plank. Breathe in, breathe out, and lower your knees and pelvis. Separate your forearms until your palms are face down, Sphinx pose. Bring your knees close together, stretch your tailbone towards your inner heels, and coil your chest up and open. You might even want to shake your head gently, giving your neck a stretch. Let's take 4 more breaths in Sphinx. Now let's bring the mat back to our usual way of using it. You can take off your socks if you have socks, or put the cardboard aside. And let's practice this without the sliding action. From dolphin pose, 1 round. Second round, lifting a leg, switching legs. Third round, optional, setting up for headstand. So similarly, extend your arms forward, wrap your triceps down, plug the shoulders into their sockets, and spread the shoulder blades across your upper back. Interlace your fingers, press your elbows on the ground, shoulders width apart, and root down to rise up. Make sure you feel that rebounding lift. Now look just ahead of your knuckles, breathe in, and hug the front ribs towards your back. Feel a slight rounding between the shoulder blades. Tuck your toes, keep the breath full, and lift your hips. If available, walk your feet towards your elbows, but try to keep pressing your chest back towards your shins. You don't want your shoulders to roll forward in front of your elbows. Keep the shoulders back. Keep using that rebounding force of pushing down with your elbows, forearms, and outer wrists to lift the shoulders so your neck lengthens. Last 2 breaths here in dolphin pose. When you're ready, come down to your knees, rest your arms by your sides, and take 3 deep exhalations. Round 2 of 3. Maybe switch the interlacing of the pinky finger that's on top. Wrap the triceps down. Press the shoulders into their sockets. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. Keep pressing the chest back. If available, walk your feet forward. Now you can let your head hang, or you can look towards in front of your knuckles. Feet come together, optional to begin lifting the right leg from the inseam like we did in Warrior 3. Keeping your right hip facing down as you firm your hips towards your midline and make your lifted leg solidly straight. Flex your lifted foot. Hug your front ribs in. Then if you're ready to switch sides, set the right foot down. Mindfully keep the hips squared as you raise the opposite leg. Flex the foot and keep the lifted leg solidly straight. Notice when it's loose like a noodle, that's how the balance might feel. How's your breathing? Victorious breath. When you're ready, both feet on the ground, the knees to the ground, child's pose. Arms by your sides, 3 deep breaths. Okay, Last round. Take your version of dolphin pose, one of those first 2 rounds that we did, or join me in setting up for Salamba Shavasana if you have no injuries in your neck and your shoulders feel pretty stable. So interlace the fingers, triceps down, plug the shoulder bones in their sockets. This time, before you lift your knees, place the very top of your head. Make sure it's not your forehead nor the back of your head. It's the very crown of your head on the floor, so that the back of your skull is very lightly touching the insides of your palms. Make sure the elbows stay shoulders width apart, then you can tuck your toes and lift the hips. Maybe this is plenty, so you're using your forearms to root down and lift the shoulders up, placing little weight on your head. Your arms are doing most of the work. Now you might bring the feet together, you might lift one leg up, flexing the lifted foot and straightening the legs solidly, not like a noodle. Hugging the hips towards your midline so you're not turning out the leg, and then switching. Perhaps you use the lifted leg to create torque in order to lift the bottom leg too. Beginning to feel your pelvic bowl turn completely upside down, stacking over your shoulder girdle, stacking over your crown. Salamba Shavasana. Now when you're finished with your last inversion, make your way into child's pose, and let's rest there for a few lion's breaths. Inhaling deeply through the nose, opening your mouth, sticking out your tongue with a clearing exhale with any sound. From here, let's slide down to our bellies. Legs straight back, place your right ear on the mat and slide your right arm out to the right with a palm face down. Stretch into the pectoral muscles in the front of the shoulders. Press the floor away with your left hand beside your left shoulder and start to roll over onto your right hip. Now adjust how much weight you need to place into this stretch. You could step the left foot behind you, adding more intensity, or not. Slide your right shoulder blade down your back ribs and open space along the right side of your neck. Let's take 3 more slow breaths through the nose. Gently roll onto your stomach. Turn your left ear to the ground. Slide your left arm out to the left with a palm face down. And begin to press the floor away with your right hand beside your right shoulder. Slowly rolling over onto your left hip. Stay aware of what shifts, what might feel different on this side that you're attending to. Send the left shoulder blade down your back ribs. Maybe step the right foot behind you on the floor. And let's lengthen 3 more breaths here. Gently roll onto your stomach. Press your hands in the ground and slowly rise up. Slide your legs out in front of you. And let's prepare for lying on our backs. We didn't get into hip openers that externally rotate the thighs too much. So let's go ahead and take thread the needle. Step the left foot down, turn out your right thigh at the hip, flex your right foot and place the ankle on your left thigh like a figure 4. Either press your right hand onto your inner right thigh, keeping your shoulders and head grounded, or thread your right hand between your thighs, using both hands to bring your left leg closer to your torso. Let's take 5 breaths here. And keep your right leg on top. In fact, wrap it over the left leg. We're going to set it for a supine twist. Slide your hips towards the right edge of your mat and open your right arm wide to the right. Grounding that shoulder as you look past it, begin to twist to your left side. If it's a bit too intense to have your legs cross, you can uncross your legs and hug your knees together as you twist. Draw your right outer hip towards the front edge of your mat. Last 2 breaths here. Gently uncross your legs as you come back to center. Step your right foot down and turn out your left thigh. Flex your left foot and cross the ankle over your right thigh, like a figure 4. Set up the same way in your hip opener, whether you stay here and press the left thigh with the left palm, or you thread the left hand between your thighs, catch the right leg with 2 hands, and gently bring it closer. 5 breaths. Let's prepare for your twist. If you did not cross your legs on the first side, then uncross your legs here. Otherwise, wrap the left leg over the right, scoot your hips towards the left edge of your mat, and open your left arm on the floor. Grounding that shoulder to look towards it, and slowly twist to your right side. Breathe in, breathe out. Press your left outer hip forward towards the front edge of your mat. 2 last breaths. Gently roll onto your back, and let's come into happy baby pose or any other last cooling pose that helps you to wind down for Shavasana. Take a moment here to place your body in your final resting pose, using any props that you might need to help your body lie comfortably in stillness for the next 5 minutes before our 5 minutes of meditation. And as you arrive in that position of stillness, close your eyes. I invite you to mentally scan your body slowly from the bottom to the top. Noticing if anything is still actively working, engaged, or tense. You could bring awareness to soften and release effort from. Shavasana is one of the most important physical yoga poses, and that it's a full surrender to tuning inward. Take a deep breath in. Exhale all effort in the breath. Shavasana.
things may have shifted for you, body, mind, spirit, through your practice today. As you refine your ability to sense more from your energy body, your mind, begin to make your way up, positioning your body into a comfortable seat for our 5 minutes of meditation. One mudra that can be helpful in focusing is bringing the thumb and first finger to touch with the palms face down in your lap. You can cultivate a grounding energy, and with palms face up, an energizing. You can choose to close your eyes or steady a soft gaze just ahead on one spot, keeping an upright spine as your body feels relaxed, not rigid. Let's begin by sensing where in your body you feel breath coming in and out. As you land your awareness there, know that you can return your awareness there as many times as you may need to regain presence. If the mind wanders, come back to your breath. So for today's 5 minutes of meditation, I invite you to begin with self-inquiry, asking your inner being what it is that you love about your practice. How does this practice benefit you? And see if we can do so not from such a cognitive sense, but more of just opening up the space and listening to whatever arises. Thoughts, words, maybe images, felt sense, physical sensations. Sit with that. What do I love about my practice?
is the feeling tone, or bhavanam in Sanskrit, that you've cultivated within you through your practice, through your meditation, through your showing up for yourself today and showing up for each other. Resting your palms at your heart and bowing in gratitude to your inner fire to do the work. And your fire of inspired action. Let's close the practice. Joining in one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.